My 100th video, what should I review? The Lion King, directed by Roger Allers and Rob Minkoff, and what better choice for my 100th video than by far my favourite Disney film of all time, and one of my 10 if not 5 favourite films of all time. Well, you all know the story of The Lion King, so I'll put it as simply and as briefly as I can. Simba is Prince of the Pride Lands. He will one day succeed the throne as King of Pride Rock from his father Mufasa. However, after Mufasa is tragically murdered by Simba's evil uncle Scar, and Simba gets framed for Mufasa's murder, so Simba runs and goes into hiding and spends most of the years of his life with Timon and Pumbaa without any responsibility. Can Simba be persuaded to go back to Pride Rock, face his past, and face his uncle Scar, and take his place in the circle of life once and for all before it's too late? So yeah, that's the simple plot synopsis of The Lion King, and what better time to be reviewing The Lion King, not just trilogy but franchise now, with the news of a live-action Lion King being confirmed, directed by Jon Favreau, director of live-action Jungle Book. Now that Lion King is officially 22 years old, has it aged well? Has it hold up today? Yes, abso-fucking-lutely it has. The Lion King is my absolute favourite Disney film, and let's start out why this film is an absolute masterpiece and a perfect film for me. The opening Circle of Life is absolutely magnificent. It is the greatest thing Disney has done. I am not kidding. There's no dialogue in it whatsoever, but you don't need it. Just hearing that classic Elton John song Circle of Life, and all the animals gathering to see Simba's coronation, and Rafiki just holding Simba above his head. It's an absolutely timeless epic intro. It makes your jaw drop and makes you go, one word, amazing. But can the rest of the movie live up to this opening? Indeed it can. The characters are the best characters Disney has ever produced. Every single one of them is three-dimensional, lovable, and you will remember them above the rest. Like, Simba is a fantastic protagonist. He starts out being naturally like a kid, you know. He's so excited that he's had this burden on his shoulders to become king one day, and although he doesn't know at the time that there's more to responsibility to being king than getting your own way, but that's naturally how kids think. And of course, as Simba grows up, he does learn that there is a responsibility in life. We don't want to do things, but we have to do them for the greater good. That's such a great life lesson. I mean, this film portrays growing up better than any film I've ever seen. It depicts kids as kids, and adults as they are maturing and see the world in more, and understanding it in more complex ways. And Mufasa is an outstanding father figure. I mean, it helps that he's voiced by James Earl Jones, voice of Darth Vader, and James Earl Jones' voice perfectly suits Mufasa's commanding presence, and he's basically portrayed as the greatest father anyone could ever had. He deeply loves and cares for his son. He teaches his son how to be the best king his son can be, and how to respect others. And there's this great scene where Mufasa does express his disappointment in Simba for disobeying him and going to the elephant graveyard, even though he understands Simba was just trying to be brave like him, as Simba does really look up to his father, as we all do look up to our parents. This film brilliantly portrays how we learn from the generations that came before us, and how important influence our parents can be in our lives. And Mufasa brilliantly explains to Simba he's only brave when he has to be, which is a great message. Even kings get scared, nobody's perfect. So it's truly heartbreaking when we see Mufasa die and murdered at the hands of his own brother, and his own son had to see his death. And Simba, it's, oh gosh, you are just bursting into tears when he's standing by his father's body. Mufasa's death is even more dramatic uh, than Bambi's mother, because Bambi's mother was completely off screen. However, Mufasa's, they show his body, and Simba just crying by his father's body, trying to wake his father up and gradually realizing what has happened. If any kid went through that, that would scar them severely for life, to which it does Simba, to which that really shapes Simba in not just the third act of this movie, but in The Lion King too. Even Timon and Pumbaa are fantastic characters. They are, of course, the comic relief of the movie, but that works. After all Simba's been through, he would want to move on. If he was just the kid, he would want to put his past behind him and just live a life without any worries. And Ernie Sabella and Nathan Lane are both perfect as Timon and Pumbaa. They were originally going to voice hyenas, but they worked so well they were chosen for Timon and Pumbaa, and they couldn't be a better choice. They are Disney's best comic relief characters. Thank God they got their own TV series. And even Nala is a great love interest for Simba. I love how they actually spend time together as kids, and they start out as just friends because kids have no interest in romance naturally, but it's so relieving to Nala when she finds Simba alive. As she explains, it's like he's back from the dead and how she's missed him. Simba and Nala reuniting just made me go, ah. And even Rafiki is absolutely fantastic. Oh, he's like the Gandalf, the Dumbledore, the Yoda of this movie, and he really is the one that does convince Simba to go back and face his past in the Mufasa's ghost scene, which is an out of this world brilliant scene, especially by Disney standards. I love Zazu too. Zazu's the advisor to the King of the Pride Lands, and Rowan Atkinson, brilliant job at voice acting. But of course, the character you've all been waiting for me to talk about, Scar. Scar is my favourite Disney villain and one of my favourite villains of all time, period. Jeremy Irons' voice acting is some of the best I've ever seen. This is his best role, in my opinion. Scar is such a manipulative villain. He completely tricks our protagonist into believing he's on their side until he finally reveals his true colours and lures Mufasa and Simba into his trap in the wildebeest stampede, which is one of the coolest scenes in any movie ever. Just the sheer spectacle of that scene and the music, oh, incredible. Not only does murder his own brother to become king, but he makes his own nephew believe that he was responsible for his own father's death. Ah, what an asshole. And Scar actually goes back and lies to the lionesses that both Mufasa and Simba were killed, and he completely takes over the Pride Lands with the hyenas and destroys all food and water. And you're like, Simba, you have to come back before it's too late. The stakes are just ever so high in this film, considerably higher than in most Disney movies. The animation is absolutely beautiful. This is the best hand-drawn animation I have ever seen. It's beautifully captures Africa in every corner, and the scale as well of the animation is phenomenal. It helps that they use computer animation blended with hand-drawn, and the songs in this movie, the soundtrack is just perfect. I have been listening and loving this soundtrack my entire life. All of the songs in this film are 5 stars for me. No wonder this soundtrack won 2 Oscars, Best Original Song and Best Score. Circle of Life, I just can't wait to be king. Be prepared, Hakuna Matata, can you feel the love tonight? All brilliant songs. They all feel so grand and epic, and they help enhance the story rather than detract from it. Hans Zimmer and Elton John are a perfect team up. Why has Disney never asked them to come back again? I'll never know. And the pacing of this film is perfect. It never drags. There is never a single dull moment. The section where Simba's a kid and learning to become kin doesn't take too long. If anything, it gives Simba great character development and helps us relate to him, spending time with him as a kid. And Mufasa's death in the stampede and Scar's plan doesn't take too long to get to, and even the part where Simba's out with Timon and Pumbaa doesn't drag on too long, because they still help keep the stakes high by showing how Scar is wrecking the Pride Lands and being a shit king, and we even get a great hilarious scene where he's got Zazu in a cage and Zazu has to sing that coconut song to him, and so you still feel the stakes. They thankfully just quickly get to Nala and Rafiki coming back to convince Simba to help them. And one character I want to talk about that I've seen nobody talk about is Sarabi. She is such a strong character. I mean, she had to deal with not only the loss of her husband, but presumably her son as well, and she lived with that grief for all those years under Scar's rule, and it's so triumphant when she finally stands up to him and tells Scar, enough is enough, if you were half the king Mufasa was, you're like, go girl. One complaint some people say about this film is that Timon can be a bit mean-spirited when Pumbaa is the one with the good heart. So, well, yeah, Timon may seem like he doesn't want anything to do with Simba at first, but it's only because he's scared for their well-being, because lions are their predators, and Timon does prove at the end that he does have a heart when he helps out in the Battle of Pride Rock. And people also complain that when Simba does go back to face his past and he learned he wasn't responsible for his father's death, that the conflict Simba was facing was false, that Simba was just tricked, and how nobody was on Simba's side until it's revealed that Simba didn't kill Mufasa. Well, for that I say, one, the lionesses were on Simba's side, because Nala cried out Simba when he was hanging on the edge of Pride Rock, so they did care. They just were confused with what Scar told them, and Simba being alive. They didn't know what to believe. And two, the conflict wasn't false because it makes Simba feel better about himself, that he did nothing wrong, and it also made Simba realise, because Scar deceived him all these years and tried to murder him, that not everyone can be reasoned with or trusted with. That's a great message for everyone to have. And the even the final battle of this film is electrifyingly good, with Simba and Scar just battling each other in slow motion. That is how lions fight. Yeah, that's what I love about this film, how they capture the animal instincts of the characters perfectly. They don't humanize them. Oh, of course, the secondary antagonists, the hyenas, Shanzi, Banzai and Edge, are great secondary antagonists. How they finally realise at the end that Scar doesn't see them anything more than disposable, and they finally turn on him, and that makes you cheer. And the end when Simba roars on that rock, truly epic, and the music. Disney, you don't make movies like this anymore. But the greatest praise I can give this movie is that how mature it is about death, especially when talking to kids about death. I mean, it doesn't just say, oh, death isn't real, you can just bring your parents back to life. No, it actually goes there. It actually says nobody's here forever and everyone will eventually die, but it really teaches you how to cope with that loss, that even if you have lost someone, they haven't left you completely. They live in you, as Rafiki says. And when Mufasa tells Simba to look up at the stars where the great kings of the past look down on them, that taught me as a kid that the ones we love go up to the stars and they guide us, which, can you believe Disney thought Pocahontas would be the bigger hit at the time? That's hard to believe, I know, but they look pretty silly now. As a band, I cannot believe The Lion King did not even get a nomination for Best Picture, how Forrest Gump won. If it was down to me, I would have picked The Lion King any day. So The Lion King is just perfect. No flaws whatsoever. Your whole family will love it. Everyone should see it.
I give The Lion King 5 stars out of 5.
Yeah, Disney movies with animals are always the best. Any human characters wouldn't have had any purpose in this movie. So I love you guys. Thank you all for watching. What do you think of The Lion King? Please comment, let me know. Please like this video and subscribe. Please follow me on Twitter and on Google+. And I'll see you all next time when I review The Lion King 2. Bye, guys.